Hello, friends. Uh, my friend Asad asked me a very, very, very relevant question, which a lot of my friends have asked me, and it's very strange to start with to tell me. And a lot of people, because I used to throw a lot of big Bollywood parties in Bombay, and I still have a lot of parties in Dubai, and I don't drink. And a lot of my friends asked me this, that you don't drink. I mean, it's like practically a surprise saying you don't drink. So I made a joke out of it, and I said, please complete your sentence. So he says, why? He says, you don't drink. It looks like from your face, it looks like you drink. So I said, please complete your sentence. So he said, शक्ल से तो मैं बिल्कुल बेवड़ा लगता हूँ, तो वो ऐसे लगता है कि सुबह उठते ही मैं चालू हो जाता हूँ दारू पीने. So I said, please complete your sentence, don't feel bad, because that's how my face looks like, that I am probably a very heavy drinker, or. But in the fact is that I am a teetotaler. I've never drank in my life, and that's how it's been. Even being with Bollywood and being in Bollywood and all my life. But there is a reason behind it. There is a reason behind everything. Why a person drinks and why a person doesn't drink. And this in my life has happened to me very early in life, about why I don't drink. Like I said in my earlier interviews, podcasts, whatever, that I have two fathers. I had two fathers. My real father, my natural father, and my uncle, who was my second father, who was my initial mentor, guide, whom I look up to, whom I was very close to. And these two were friends. They were not brothers, and they lived together from the time they studied till the time they died. And that was my growing up years. But unfortunately, as the years passed, they kind of went their separate ways. And my father and my mother, they got involved in partying and glamour, and because of JC Jain, because of the Bollywood and the film fair and the awards, and they got involved too much into the social life with Bollywood, and had no time to spend and spare for me and my brother, and were busy with that, and they used to be fond of races, they were fond of gambling, going to the club, playing cards, and having the good life. But whereas my uncle, who was basically Mr. Balla, he was a thinker. He was a very good thinker, the great thinker. He used to sit down and plan things. So it was that thing on the sign, that picture on the wall was, first plan your work and then work your plan. So that is what he used to do. He was the planning of the work, and my dad was working of the plan. So that was something that happened. And he was fond, he had hobbies. His hobby was homeopathy. He used to practice homeopathy, read, and every Sunday, I remember there was a crowd in my living room sitting to be treated by him, and he used to do it free of cost. My mother was a compounder, and he used to treat homeopathic patients, and he had a shafa in his hand. He could cure anything and anybody. And that's the time when I saw all this happening as a child, where he had homeopathy. He was fond of magic. He used to call PC Sarkar, K. Lal, Gogia Pasha all at home and learn magic tricks. And I was his Jamura, trying to be helping with him. He was fond of jokes. He wrote a book called Laughs and More Laughs, which is published. So he was fond of that kind of stuff. My dad was fond of a different kind of stuff. As the years passed, they kind of grew apart and had different lives. And over the period of time, I saw my uncle, my second dad, get lonely, and he had nobody to talk to. And my dad went into a different zone, a different group. And that created a crack in the relationship, which I could see as a child growing. and they talked less and less to each other. It reached a stage where my uncle started to drink. And he started with 1 or 2 drinks, and then it became more and more. And when Dad got a whiff of it, that he is now becoming into alcohol or an alcoholic, he used to get very violent, and he used to start shouting at the servants, at his wife, and everybody who came in front of him. So he started staying away from the house, and he started drinking. Now, I as a child was caught between the fire, and I was quietly in my room. But one fine day, and this I am telling you, which I have told nobody, I am telling you as an audience, as a viewer, this is something that you could identify with. Is one fine day they both had a clash, and that clash turned into a violent fight, actually a physical fight. And that physical fight is something that I viewed and witnessed with my eyes as a child. And I saw them go at each other and go rolling down the stairs and get into a massive fight. It's something which I have very vivid memories of even today. And I thought, how can these two people who love each other so much get into the fight? What has made this man who is a genius, whom I look up to as a model, as a mentor, become absolutely the opposite, like an animal, like a beast, who there's a different face of it. It's like actually a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde situation. But when I saw this, that left a very deep impression in my mind. And that day, and my father never drank, he never smoked. So that day, in my mind, I had this thought in my mind as a child, as like we are sponges, that drinking is bad. Drinking does this to you, and that image comes in front of you. So that's the image which I carried all my life, which I still do. And after that, I never touched drink. Until today, I don't touch drink. So that is one of the main reasons. So now that you know that what is the cause of my not drinking. The second reason why I also don't drink is also once in a while, Mr. Sunil Dutt used to sit with me, and he was very fond of having red wine. And he started me off on red wine. He said, तुम red wine पियो जरूर, एक glass जरूर पीना चाहिए, डॉक्टर बोलता अच्छा है सेहत के लिए. So he used to bring a bottle of red wine in 2 glasses, and he was very fond of wine openers, which is very casual. I'm telling you, sharing something with you. He was very fond of getting new wine openers, red wine openers. So he used to be, every time he used to bring a bottle and come home with, and say, glass mangao. Or I used to be at his house, and we used to sit and sip a glass of red wine. Because of him, I started drinking red wine, because he had a new bottle opener. And we used to drink one bottle of wine, glass of wine together. That was the only time when I did it, because I looked up to him, and it's basically a lonely man who's looking for companionship at that time, wants to share something with you, and he loved me so much and I loved him so much. So I started having red wine with him, which I still do sometimes in his memory. But the second reason why I don't drink also was another mentor of mine, Mr. Ram Batra, who owned Bandbox and who was the one who started the Chinmaya mission, and everybody has heard of Mr. Ram Batra, who he is. He's the one who made the Wankhede Stadium and everything. So he was one of my mentors with him, because he had this company called Bandbox, the dry cleaning place. He had 22 showrooms in Bombay. And he was the son-in-law of Mr. D.D. Punjabi, the person who came from Pakistan with my dad and uncle, married to his daughter Jamna. And we were family friends. And he ran Bandbox and multiple other companies, and was a very well-known name. Simple man, shirt, pant, bush shirt, white, everything. He was very close to me because my parents were very close to him, and he was very fond of me. So when he came and we were closing down Bandbox, I went to him about asking him after my job, before my job, first job, When I want to do something, I went to him and he says, "Beta, kya karoge?" I said, "I want to open up Kapoor Lampshade Company." Kapoor Lampshade Company is a very big company in Delhi, which my friend Kiran Kapoor and his family ran. And he said, "I want to open up a lampshade." कहता तुम बेटा lampshade बेचोगे इस ज़माने में? मैंने कहा नहीं, lampshade नहीं अंकल, ये chandelier होते हैं ना क्रिस्टल के, वो बेचते हैं सब ये। तो कहा अच्छा तुम बताओ क्या चाहिए? मैंने कहा मुझे 2 दुकानें चाहिए। तो बोले 2 दुकानें चाहिए, तो मेरी दुकान है काला घोड़ा में, लिंकिन रोड में। आई गॉट 21 शॉप, तुम जिस पे उंगली रखो तुम ले लो, बट ये तुम्हारा इसका फ़ायदा होगा। It's for you, your family, you're my son, whatever you need, it's okay. So I put my finger on Kala Ghoda and another one on Linking Road, and we opened 2 Kapoor Lampshade shop, but that is a separate topic about Kapoor lamps, which we will talk about later. The Kapoor Lampshade story, which we will talk about later. I'm talking about drinking. One day after a show, he and his wife, me and my wife, we went out for a show, and he said, let's go somewhere, I have to stop. He told his wife, Jamna, I have to stop somewhere for meeting somebody. So he said, okay. So we went to Cuff Parade. On Cuff Parade, there is a row of these old houses. So we went there, and we went inside, and inside was a very different atmosphere. And there were film people, and not the kind of people, little shady kind of people with film stars and drinking and smoking and all that thing. Not the kind of party that Ram Batra would be seen in with his name and everything. But because he went there, we all went in, and we were there for about half an hour. And I went inside the bar where I met Mr. Sanjeev Kumar was sitting down and drinking there. And I said hello to him, everything, and I made 2 drinks, whiskeys for him and me, just to give him company because I looked up to him. I took those 2 glasses and went to him and I said, "Uncle, aapke liye I made a glass for you." And he looked up at me and very innocently said, "Beta, you don't know that I never drank in my life?" That day, at that moment, I put both the glasses down on the table and I swore to myself that I will never drink again after my uncle's episode. And that was the second time when I put it down that I would never ever touch it again. That was my second reason why I put it down. And I don't think Mr. Ram Batra even knew when he died that I didn't drink because of this purpose. So this is the story about drinking. Talking of drinking reminds me of a very, very dear friend of mine whom I knew very closely, and I don't know, very few people know about this, but I'm talking about my friend Kaka, whose name is Rajesh Khanna, whom I knew from a very early age before he even became a superstar. So I would like to share those moments and experiences with him when I had met him. And later on he became a relative of mine in some form, because his real sister from his original father, not Sunilal Khanna, but his brother from whom he had adopted him. He had one real sister called Lata, which I don't know if people know about it, but he had other 3 sisters from Sunilal Khanna, which were the other 3 sisters, the adopted sisters. But the real sister was Lata, who was a dental surgeon, and she was married to my cousin brother, Dr. Anil Bakshi, who was also a dental surgeon, and they met at that time and they got married. By virtue of that, he became, you can call it relatives, so samdhis or whatever you call it. But I've known Kaka since early days, from Do Raste, before Do Raste days. Kaka has had 2, call it a fetish, call it a choice, call it a craze, call it a... He was very fond of cars. He loved cars from early days, much before Raj, before he did his film with GPCP's Raj, and he was that time coming up. He was fond of cars, but he came from a well-to-do family, and he had a mind of his own, and he had a lovely nature, lovely temperament, very nice person, genuine person. And I've known him from those days. I remember he bought a black Mercedes. Its number was MRF 9299. I have that memory. And he used to say, Rajan, इसको ड्राइव कर अपने पास रख और चला के देख कैसी है. ठीक है, अच्छा तो फिर रख लेंगे, we'll buy it. So I used to be that. And second thing he loved, which I picked up from him, he was very fond of wearing lungi kurtas, silk lungi kurtas. And if you must have seen Rajesh Khanna, Kaka in lungi kurtas. And this is another habit which I have even today. I still wear lungi kurtas and silk lungi kurtas. This habit was picked up by another friend of mine, Vinod Mehra, who was also close to him later on. And he used to wear lungi kurtas. So lungi kurtas is like a habit which I got from Kaka. As time passed and Kaka got famous and whatever else happened is history, we became a little distant because he was busy with his life, and he had a coterie of friends, he had a lot of stuff, busy life. He became a superstar. So I kind of backed out in that, and I used to hear, I used to see things, and it affected my life a lot, which is to see a person who is coming up from being an ordinary person to become the superstar, and the superstardom that till today I don't think anybody has seen. Can you handle it? Could you handle it? If this happened to you, would you be able to handle it? I don't know. Unfortunately for Kaka, for Rajesh, I don't think he could handle the superstardom that he got. And that, you know what happened and how it happened, from where to where Rajesh Khanna went to superstardom, to falling down, to come down to nothing, and eventually passed away as a very lonely and sad man. And that is something that I think, my friends, we all should learn from. That you have to learn how to handle your stardom, your superstardom, with your wealth, your fame, your reputation. But I think we need to be grounded. We need to remember our roots, where we come from. We shouldn't forget our roots. And that is a classic example of Kaka, what happened. And I love the man. He was a fantastic human being. He always supported, helped everybody. But again, the stardom, the drinking, the wrong company. Again, it's the company you choose, the company you be with, that decides who you are or what you are. The wrong company, the coterie, the chamchas, what we call, what he had around him. I don't think he had anybody who could guide him at that time or tell him at that time, because he was too big. On the other hand, I would like to say, I'll give you a classic example of Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. Now, it's around the same time that they came and they did a film together, Anand, you all know. Till today, I have such great respect for that man. He's 82. And his discipline of not drinking, not smoking, being a vegetarian, but most important is the discipline that has kept him where he is in his position even today. Rajesh Khanna, Amitabh Bachchan. He reports for his shoot. If his shoot time is at 7 a.m. in the morning, He will be there ready with makeup before 7, 6:30, before even the watchmen open the doors of the studio. He's ready. And he's sitting, waiting. All the actors, all the directors, the DOP, the cameraman, they may come later, but he's sitting and waiting, and he doesn't lose his temper or his cool. Bhai, tum late aaye ho, main baitha hu. I'm a superstar also. But he keeps quiet, quietly accepts everything, and just says, okay, I'm ready for the shot. When are you shooting? That is the man's character and discipline. He doesn't get angry with anyone because he considers this as a job. He's on a job from 7 to 2 show shooting, whatever it is. Now, comparing these two, I'm talking of long term. What happened with Rajesh Khanna? Where is Amitabh Bachchan? Even today. So it's punctuality, it's discipline, it's your habits, it's the friends you have, it's the way you talk, what you talk. You know, both people had different ways of expressing and talking about people. Makes all the difference and makes you what you are today. So my friends, this is what I want to talk to you about. Is you're all coming from the same place. They're all coming from middle class, meager backgrounds. But you make or break yourself depending on all these things. Most importantly, the company that you keep and the people who tell you what to do and what not to do. So these are the things which I wanted to talk about, which I think all of you who are listening can identify with this. And the makings of a good man, the makings of a person who had superstardom but couldn't hold it for various reasons which I gave you. With this, I'd like to end my today's topic, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.